College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
We've been telling you for a while now that Salvi was moving up on Amos Otis. He has now passed Amos Otis. 993 RBIs. We've been telling you for a while now that Salvi was moving up on Amos Otis. He has now passed Amos Otis. 993 RBIs. Third most in Royals history. Now Benintendi dives and he missed it. And it is an 8-run fifth inning, and Frazier goes diving into second base with his third hit.
Welcome into Sports Day, everybody. It is a beautiful day, beautiful Thursday here in Great Bend, Kansas. My name is Brant Daughtry. I'll be joined on the show today by Aaron Beck, head coach of Great Bend High School football, as well as the brand new volleyball coach for Barton Community College, Jim Carter. He will join me later in the show. But first, we've had your sounds of the past 24 hours. Supposed to have played a second ago. I don't know if anybody could hear that or not. I certainly couldn't. So we're off to a great start here today. But that's okay. Hold on. Landon's showing me something. Can we do sounds of the past 24 hours now at the end of the song? I'm going to wait for the song to stop, and then we're going to try and play it just so we can tell everybody what I'm about to be talking about anyway. There's the last guitar sting. Now let's see if this will work.
We've been telling you for a while now that Salvi was moving up on Amos Otis. He has now passed Amos Otis. 993 RBIs. Third most in Royals history. Now Benintendi dives and he...
All right, yeah, that's not working. I've got no idea what's going on. That's okay. We'll make it work. Today's a good day. Today's going to be a fun day. Sounds of the past 24 hours. What I was going to show you, and what I will hopefully be showing you again in the future at some point, the Royals scored 8 in the fifth inning and dominated the White Sox 12-1. The win went to rookie Ryan Bergert, who has a 2.54 ERA since being traded from the Padres at the deadline. He's off to a great start in his Royals career. Hopefully he can continue with that. The Royals have a travel day today, returning to Kauffman for a weekend series against the Tigers. That will start tomorrow. 3 games back in the wild card right now. Salvador Perez, he passed Amos Otis for the third most RBIs in Royals history. He's been doing it for a long time, and he's absolutely been fantastic. Another thing that happened yesterday, Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has been suspended for 6 games by the NFL for causing a multi-car pileup in Dallas last year. He'll be eligible to return in Week 7 when the Chiefs host the Las Vegas Raiders. That was an interesting thing because we were at the point of thinking that there was going to be some kind of weird situation with his sentencing where he was going to be able to play half the season, but then he suddenly was not able to. So because the judge who was supposed to be in charge of his sentencing was looking for an open date, but apparently they're just not going to use that judge anymore. The NFL went ahead and passed down that sentencing anyway. So hopefully going forward, the Chiefs know what to do with him. So Rashee Rice will be out for the first 6 games for the Kansas City Chiefs. Then he'll be back in. Have people been able to hear me at all? No. Okay. Hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to restart the show. We're going to do sounds of the past 24 hours. That was a disaster. This is just an incredible start. Here we go. Sounds of the past 24 hours. This is, my goodness. All right, here we go.
We've been telling you for a while now that Salvi was moving up on Amos Otis. He has now passed Amos Otis. 993 RBIs. Third most in Royals history. Now Benintendi dives and he missed it. And it is an 8-run fifth inning, and Frazier goes diving into second base with his third hit of the night.
News from the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice will serve a 6-game suspension to start the season under the league's player conduct policy, stemming from a high-speed crash in Dallas last year.
Pitch on the way to Ronald Acuna, and that came inside and got him. First pitch sinker, and Ronald walks in front of the plate, stares down Gusto, now pointing at Gusto, and they come spilling out onto the field now. Brian Snitker was just ejected from the game.
Ozzie Albies now.
Ozzie down the line, off the pole, another one for Ozzie Albies. Atlanta opening this thing up here in the third inning.
Higgy going deep to left, and that one is gone. Higashioka with a 3-run homer.
The third 3-run home run for the Rangers tonight. The Rangers are at 20.
And so we have dipped our toes into the absurd tonight.
Okay, now we're back. It's Sports Day here on 1590 KVGV and 95.5 FM. I've been talking into a dead microphone for about 3 minutes there. Big thanks to Becca for coming in and fixing the problem. All right, take you through the sounds of the past 24 hours. Brant Daughtry here with you live. Landon Winkler's over there. He's your executive producer in charge of the cameras and everything. Landon, go wide and wave at the camera. The Royals scored 8 in the 5th inning and dominated the White Sox 12-1. The win went to rookie Ryan Bergert, who has a 2.54 ERA since being traded from the Padres at the trade deadline. The Royals have a travel day today, returning to Kauffman for a weekend series against the Tigers. They're 3 games back in the wild card right now. Salvador Perez last night, during that big 5th inning, passed Amos Otis for the 3rd most RBIs in Royals history. Salvy's been doing it for a long time, man. He's a legend of the game, and he will continue to do great things, I'm sure. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has been suspended for 6 games by the NFL for causing a multi-car pileup in Dallas last year. He'll be eligible to return in Week 7 when the Chiefs host the Las Vegas Raiders. That's an interesting situation because earlier in the summer, I reported that, excuse me, Rashee Rice's sentencing was going to be delayed because there was an issue with the judge who was supposed to be in charge of that sentencing, or at least in charge of the hearing. But it appears that they're just going to bypass that judge at this point, and moving forward, the NFL will just handle that. So 6 games, he'll return in Week 7 when they host the Raiders. Miami Marlins pitcher Ryan Gusto hits Braves star Ronald Acuna Jr. with a pitch, which led to the benches clearing. It is the 9th time in his career that Acuna has been hit by a Marlins pitcher. The Braves went on to score 5 runs in that inning, including a 3-run homer by Ozzie Albies. They won the game 12-1. It's the second day in a row that something weird has happened with the Braves, and they've given me an excuse to talk about them on the show. It's not going to be every day, but when it can happen, it's going to happen. I do love my Braves. And the Texas Rangers hosting the Los Angeles Angels hit 3 3-run homers against last night against the Angels, like I said. Came from Adolis Garcia, Jock Peterson, and as you heard there, Kyle Higashioka. The Rangers wound up winning 20-1, which I believe is the most lopsided score I've seen this year. And it's the most runs the Rangers have scored in a game since 2011, so over a decade of history. We've got a good show for you today, I promise. The start was a little bit iffy, but we've got it figured out now. After this first break, we're going to welcome on Great Bend High School head football coach Aaron Beck. He will join the show along with tight end safety Ian Premer and linebacker offensive lineman Trent Kern. Once they get out of here, we're going to welcome on the new head coach of Barton Volleyball, Jim Cartiser. He will walk into the studio. He will join us. So really looking forward to that. So because we want to get to those interviews, we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we'll have Coach Aaron Beck, Ian Premer, and Trent Kern on the show with you. We'll be right back after this.
Selling your farm or ranch acres can be stressful. At Red Cedar Land Company, they are extremely diverse in the number of ways they can represent you, and they tailor each project to meet their seller's needs. One of the biggest questions for a seller is, what is my land worth? At Red Cedar Land Company, they offer a free market analysis to help you better understand the value of your land. You deserve a better selling experience. Put your trust in Red Cedar Land Company. Call Cody Crook with Red Cedar Land Company at 620-617-7320.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmy's make it happen.
Barton Community College has college classes that fit your life and your budget. With 5 flexible start dates, Barton Online is perfect for picking up a class or earning your associate's degree at less than half the cost of a university. Study anytime, from anywhere. Save time, save money. Start strong with Barton Online. Ready to take the next step? Visit online.bartonccc.edu and enroll today.
Sutherland's is your complete home improvement and hardware store. Tens of thousands of products are in stock at everyday low prices. Sutherland's also offers custom buildings, including post-frame barns, garages, and deck packages too. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Sutherland's, always ready to help you with any project. From hardware, lumber, cabinets, plywood, and OSB, fencing, power tools, furniture, and more. They simply sell for less. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
Welcome back in Sports Day. Brought to you hard. If I can find the right piece of paper here. I'm all over the place. These guys came in. They were already making fun of me for not having the show on. Here we go. Brought to you by the Cougar Booster Club. Sports Day is presented by the Barton Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country, and by Equity Bank. Here when you need us, bank local, save big with in-person banking and business banking. Visit equitybank.com for more information. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. We're back in the Mayo Money Management Studio, and pleased now to be joined by Aaron Beck, head coach of the Great Bend Panthers, Ian Premer, and Trent Kern, two stars for the Great Bend High School Panthers. And guys, just thanks for the time for coming in today. And how's it going? We excited? Jamboree tomorrow? What's going on? Talk to the microphone. Let's go.
Oh yeah, we're ready to go. I think the team's looking really good. A lot of returners, so I think we're excited to get out there and compete.
That's the thing that's so crazy to me is you guys have all played together for so long. You had such a great season last year, but a lot of guys are back. I mean, almost the entire starting offense is back. You lose two linemen. I don't know what you are at other skill positions, but you got Cooper Omont, Ian. I say you, Ian. You got Cooper Omont, who's there. You've got returning quarterback coach. Just talk about what that continuity does for you guys.
Yeah, I think like as a receiving group, we returned everyone from last year. So it feels good knowing that we kind of know our spacing a little better, our alignment, like kind of how we're rubbing off of each other, and we can work really, really good together. And then we got some more depth this year at receiver too. We got Cole Fancher, who's been playing really, really good for us. If anyone gets hurt, I think he's ready to step in and go. And Jackson Wander, another guy that we're really deep this year. People need breaks. We've got guys who can step up, and I think they've really took that upon themselves to be ready to go.
There's a lot of expectation on you guys this year. And, Coach, I asked you this question with our talk after the first practice of the year, but I want to hear from you two. What is it like having that kind of expectation on you, and how do you stay focused and just take this thing week by week when you have the amount of pressure that you guys have?
I think it's fun. We got a target on our back, and nothing's better than shutting people up. I mean, it's going to be fun all year long. I'm ready for it. Ian's ready for it. We're all ready for it.
And everybody's just ready.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about the Jamboree you got going on Friday. I'll be honest, I have never been a part of a Jamboree at the high school level. What's that going to entail? And does that kind of feel like a game to you guys? Do you try to make it feel like a game? What's the process there?
Yeah, I think it is something that Keisha put in place, about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's been really good. Since these guys have been in high school, they've done it every year, and just kind of gives that game-like feel, kind of to get them in the game mode of pregame and signaling, play calling, all that kind of thing, the flow of down and distance sticks, something that you don't necessarily practice every day. So it gives them an opportunity to have that feel and see someone other than their teammates. And for our guys, you're talking about how many snaps these guys have taken and how experienced they are and how skilled they are. It'll be nice for them to beat up on someone other than our poor freshmen and scout teams and JV teams. So that's probably the biggest thing is that we're going to be able to turn these guys loose a little bit when sometimes we try to protect our own kids so Trent doesn't kill them every play. I think he's ready to kill me because I blow the whistle too quick sometimes.
Well, that's kind of one of the things I want to talk about. You guys seem nervous because just when I was out there watching you guys, the energy was up. Trent was leading the charge as far as that goes. Now he's in here. He's in front of the microphone. I want you to have a little bit of personality, and you're just kind of staring at me going, man, I don't know what to do here. But you seem at home on a football field, man.
Yeah, I'm not a real talkative guy, but once I hit the field, the flip switches, and things go crazy.
You're just ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about week one. I know that's coming up fast here. McPherson, you guys handled them pretty good last year, but different teams for both sides. So what have you seen so far? Coach, we'll start with you.
Yeah, Coach Pavlovich has been doing this for a long time, and he always has his group ready to go, and they always have athletes. We saw them in 7-on-7 this summer at Fort Hays, and a lot of new skill, but they're young and they're talented. Not real big kids like I'm used to as far as Matt goes, but I know up front their line was young last year, so I expect them to be a little better up front. And then, that's one of the things I talked about with their coaching staff is they're young in skills, but they're really excited about them. So they'll be ready to go, and they play a lot of good teams in that Ark Valley Chisholm Trail Division III league that they're in. So it's been a fun little rivalry that we've had to kick off the season with McPherson. It's dated back, I think, about 6 years now. So it'll be a good atmosphere, good week one for us.
What do you guys remember from that game last year?
Yeah, I felt like we went out there and kind of struggled offensively in the first half. Defense was playing good, and then we got out in the second half, and it felt like everything was rolling. So it was good to kind of get that first half adjustment period, and then after that, we didn't really look back.
Trent?
I agree with Ian. Once we started getting things rolling, everything was smooth. We just got to get into it first, and everything's uphill from there.
Absolutely. All right, so guys, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break here. Welcome to stick around for a little while longer if you want, but we got to fill some commercials here. But you're listening to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
C&E Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, are you ready to get back to work?
Back to work? But I've been here the whole time.
But I'm back in school. You're gonna have to run the shop without me.
It will be hard without you, but people know that we provide the best service no matter the time of the year.
You could always ask me, Mom, for more help.
Who do you think is really running this place?
Garage door sales, service, and repair at C&E Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Service from people you know, quality products and professional installation. That's Kern Floor Service. Stop by Kern Floor Service and browse through the different selections of flooring from laminate to vinyl, carpet, wood, and ceramic tile. See their selection of area rugs or special order the one that fits your decor, and don't forget, they can spice up those countertops too. So stop by Kern Floor Service today. Kern Floor Service, 908 Coolidge in Great Bend.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB. Sitting in with head coach of the Great Bend Panthers, Aaron Beck, along with Ian Premer and Trent Kern, 2 guys that are going to be key this year, Coach. And we were talking over the break. You want to mention some other key guys that you have, and we've spent a lot of time talking about the offense. So go over your defense a little bit.
Yeah, defensively, it feels like we bring back our entire starting defense. Obviously we lost some key players and Aiden Davidson, Owen Kaiser and Brody Schnoblin, Jay Schartz, those guys. But at the linebacker core, you bring back the heart and soul of this thing that's been doing it for 3 years, and Trent, and playing alongside him as his little brother Cale, who, was kind of banged up at the beginning of last year and really came on, and I felt like was getting his footing and playing really well. So I'm so excited to see those two in the middle. And Jackson Wander is just one of those kids that, man, every time I look out there, and he's just flying around making plays and has really, really developed into a good football player. A kid that, we weren't real sure where he was going to fit in. We knew he needed to. And last year, he, week 1, started flying around, and he's improved so much tackling-wise that excited about him. And Jacob Hall is a returning all-WAC kid out on the edge, a linebacker, just athletic, long, lean, can do a lot of different things, and excited to have him. And in the secondary, obviously, when you bring back Ian and Cooper at the safety spots, and you got Hayden Kelly that played a ton of snaps, and Coner Bordy that played a ton of snaps at corner. So really, those 4 on the back end are the best secondary we've ever had here, hands down. So teams are going to, have to try to make some adjustments with those guys and the amount of field Cooper can cover. That's one thing I've noticed, the way he can trigger as a safety. Anytime you think you have maybe a little breathing room as a scout offense, sometimes you're like, all right, we got him, and then he just closes the gap so quick. And then up front, defensive line, it's anchored by Connor Holiday. He's a defensive end that just really gets after the quarterback and so fast and strong, and plays with such a high motor. And some of the other spots we're gonna kind of have to figure out. Defensive line. I think Blaine Inslee comes back. He's played a lot of snaps for us, but it'll be a little bit more by committee. Can Bustamante play an entire game at nose? That's tough. So having some guys like Keaton Bray rotating in there, and like I said, Blaine and Bustamante, Carter Brown will help give us some some help over there. But hopefully being able to keep him as our anchors, our center on the offensive line.
Sure. Hey, you guys are just so incredibly deep. I heard a stat, I think it was Mike Hesher telling me about it the other day, where, you've got this 4-star all-world committed to Notre Dame, and he only caught about 50 passes last year because you just got so many weapons to work with. What is that? Does that make it a little bit easier as a coach to have guys like that?
Well, absolutely. It ain't about a coach. It's about these kids. And when you're blessed with the guys we are, the challenging part is to make sure you're converting in key opportunities and making sure you're getting them in the best situation, getting our quarterback in the best situation to get these guys the ball. And that's the key. And hopefully we increase on that this year. That's been a big thing for us, making sure we cut down on the mental mistakes, no dumb penalties that put us a little bit in a bad spot where defenses can tee off a little bit more, or we tip our hand a little bit more, making sure that we're keeping defenses on their heels. That's something I want to really emphasize. And I think our guys, when you bring back that many returners, I felt like from day one we were in a lot better spot as far as our install and have really ramped up some of our stuff. And we got to run more plays. That's another thing that we talk about offensively is get them in quicker. We need to be running more plays in order to get a kid like Ian more catches than 50 and Cooper more than 30 or whatever, and just spreading that ball around and making it tough on defenses, because that's one thing they try to do. They try to take away your number one and make the number 2, number 3 guy beat you, and hopefully that's when you have some depth, like you said, you can do that.
This is going to be our last question here, and I want the soundbite answer from you guys. This is for all three of you. What's the expectation this year?
State championship.
Yeah, I think the same thing. That's our one goal we're pushing towards this year.
Coach?
Yeah, and these guys, I have a captain's meetings with them, and they come up with a great motto, and it's climb the ladder, and that is such a good mindset to have, is to make sure, yes, you begin with the end in mind, but you got to make sure you get to rung one, and that's the jamboree tomorrow night, and make sure that we are putting ourselves in the best position to climb to rung 2 of beating Mac in week 1. So these guys have got it squared away.
Climb the ladder and see how far we can go. Guys, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for coming in today. Looking forward to talking with you, Coach, the rest of the season, and guys, looking forward to watching you on Fridays.
Yep, thank you for having
thanks,
us.
Brant. Appreciate you having us.
This has been Sports Day. You're listening to KVGB 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Selling your farm or ranch acres can be stressful. At Red Cedar Land Company, they are extremely diverse in the number of ways they can represent you, and they tailor each project to meet their seller's needs. One of the biggest questions for a seller is, what is my land worth? At Red Cedar Land Company, they offer a free market analysis to help you better understand the value of your land. You deserve a better selling experience. Put your trust in Red Cedar Land Company. Call Cody Crook with Red Cedar Land Company at 620-617-7320.
Sutherland's is your complete home improvement and hardware store. Tens of thousands of products are in stock at everyday low prices. Sutherland's also offers custom buildings, including post-frame barns, garages, and deck packages too. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Sutherland's, always ready to help you with any project. From hardware, lumber, cabinets, plywood, and OSB, fencing, power tools, furniture, and more. They simply sell for less. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmy's, make it happen.
Welcome back into Sports Day. Brant Daughtry here with you live. Let me grab the right sheet of paper here and make sure I read off the correct things. All right. Sports Day brought to you by C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison. And by Marmy's, brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street and Great Bend. We're live from the Mayo Money Management Studio. Hey, big thanks to Coach Aaron Beck as well as Ian Premer and Trent Kern coming in and joining me on the show. Hopefully those things will go a little bit smoother in the future. But overall, I really liked what they had to say. I think that everyone around here has been saying, hey, state championship is the expectation. State champion is what these guys are capable of and what all this team can do. And I think that to see them come in and kind of say it with their chest, I think is a big deal. And I'm like I said, I'm really looking forward to watching them. I'll be busy with Hoisington most nights, but I'm definitely going to keep up with them. And maybe in the future we can have a little bit more to talk about. But that was really fun. Big thanks to those guys for coming in. They don't have to. They do it out of the kindness of their own hearts, so I really appreciate that. What we're going to do now is I recorded an interview earlier with Jim Carter, the new head volleyball coach at Barton Community College. We're going to play that audio for you now. Big thanks to Coach Carter for coming in, and hopefully you all enjoy. Welcome back into Sports Day. Brant Daughtry joined now by the new head volleyball coach for the Barton Cougars, Mr. Jim Carter. Coach, thanks for taking the time to come in.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, so, Coach, you've already got your season off to a really good start. You're ranked number 9 in Kansas and living up to those expectations so far. Walk us through the season and what all you've gotten done.
Well, we first of all, I got to give the credit to the scheduling and the recruiting to the previous coach that was here before. She did a terrific job of recruiting these kids and setting up a schedule that was challenging, but nothing over the top. After losing so many kids last year, really we only have 2 returning players. So, our schedule has just been the right amount of challenge versus success. And I think that we've pretty much done everything that we should have done. We've only lost, we've won all of our matches. We've only lost 2 sets, and both of those sets were like 28-26 and 25-23, so they were pretty close. We did really well the other night against Butler, our first conference match. They had a big win earlier this season. They beat Salt Lake, who's a perennial top 10 team. So I was really expecting for us to go in there and have to battle, and we did, and we just had a little bit more in the gas tank than they did, I think, at the end. So
your first matches of the season, you go and you face in the Scooters Invitational.
Right.
Sweep that one, go 4-0 in that tournament. Then like you said, you open conference play against Butler, against, like you said, a team that has had a really good start to the year.
Yeah.
You sweep them in 3 straight sets.
Right.
That's a really impressive start to the year. What is your expectation for this team?
We sat down. I don't like to make goals too early in the season because I don't think it's realistic to make goals before you kind of figure out who you are as a team. So we sat down yesterday and made some goals for the rest of our preseason, and I think the girls have high expectations, and of course, You know, I've been doing this a long time, so I always have high expectations. Even being hired so late and coming into a situation, taking over a team where I didn't recruit even one of the kids or know him, I still had expectations because I felt like the history of the school and the history of the program, you know, that's something that you when you take over a job, you have to maintain that. So our expectations are to remain competitive and to stay at our level, right? So I feel like the first weekend and against Butler, we played at our level, and I think that showed. And you know, we had some very dominant sets over the weekend and a couple dominant sets versus Butler because we just took care of the ball on our side of the court.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you say that, the expectation, because you and I were introduced at the same Booster Club meeting. Mm-hmm. You as the new head volleyball coach and me as the new voice of Cougar basketball and baseball. And I think we both kind of had similar plans coming in there, and you just said it right here. This is a program with a lot of expectation. This is a program with a lot of history, and they want to keep that going. There's a high standard here, and there's an amount of pressure, but I think pressure is a privilege in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you know, where I spent almost 20 years coaching at the College of Southern Idaho, won 5 national championships there, was able to add to the national championships they've already accumulated. So, you know, they got 12 national championships, more than any junior college in the nation. So it's not a step down in pressure to come here, but it's I've every 3 years, if we didn't win a national championship, something was wrong, you know, and there's a lot of coaches that never win a conference championship or maybe go to, you know, the highlight of their coaching career is going to nationals once or twice. And so I've just adapted that as, you know, that's my standard, is to get to the national championship, and always nice to win, but, you know, just, you never know when you get there. You know, I've gone there before with teams that were, you know, with a team that was ranked number 1 in the nation and won a national championship. I've gone there before when we were seeded 9th and won a national championship. You just never know. Volleyball is such a momentum and cyclical game. If everybody's clicking at the right time, you just got to win 4 matches in a row, you know. So really anything's possible, but you got to get there first.
Yeah. So you're new here, kind of like I am. Tell people a little bit about yourself. You mentioned the history there. You've said 6 national championships at the College of Southern Idaho. Tell us a little bit about that and how you wound up at Barton.
Well, you know, I was at CSI. My wife and I started there. I started a year before her, actually. I started in 2005 and won my first national championship as an assistant coach then. And then, you know, my wife and I coached together for almost 20 years. Before she passed away in 2017. So, you know, we were there. That's where we wanted to raise our kids. We left a Division I job in Chicago to come back to where, closer to where I grew up in Oregon. She grew up in Idaho. It was a good compromise. You know, we were really close to her family and much closer to my family. So, you know, at the end, things didn't work out there, and I took a year off, and I was just kind of seeing what my next move was going to be. I didn't know if I was going to keep coaching or not, and you know, Trevor called and gave me an opportunity, and I was looking at some other jobs that were a little bit closer to home, and he called again, and he just kept being persistent, and then, you know, Megan, the former coach, called, and she kind of talked to me about her recruiting class and just said, hey, you know, these are a great bunch of kids. Whoever inherits them is going to be in a really good position. And at the end of the day, what was kind of keeping me from moving was, you know, I have 5 children. My youngest daughter was going to be a senior, and it was going to be a rough move for her. But we talked about it, and she knew that I wasn't ready to be done coaching, so we went ahead and made the move here to Great Bend. You know, coming from Twin Falls to Great Bend, not a huge difference. Kind of traded one small town for another, minus the mountains and the Snake River. You know, but it's been terrific. The people here are great. All the other coaches and you know, Trevor and everyone has been so welcoming and accommodating. it's been an easy move for me. Not so much for my daughter, but it's been an easy move for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking is, I'm from a small town originally, and the people here are just really great, and they're really accepting. And that's something that I think I've been blessed with as well. And I'm glad that you and I kind of have the same opinion on that. Tell us a little bit about your team. Like you said, you're trying to get to learn them right now because you did come in super late in the cycle. But tell us about the girls that you've got and how you've gotten off to the start.
Well, what we have is we've got two really quality returning individuals, in Mina and Aubrey. Aubrey's middle, and Mina plays the libero position in the back row. And they're both all-conference kids, so that's kind of the anchor of our team. Mina's just great with ball control out of, for those of you who aren't familiar with volleyball, the libero position is a position that basically would be somewhat equivalent to maybe a shortstop or a point guard. Well, maybe not a point guard, but they're in charge of a lot of the ball control. So if you've got a really good libero who's great out of serve receive and great out of defense like Mina is, what that does is it gives you the opportunity to extend rallies, keep the ball in the air, get a better first contact so you can get a better set and a better attack. And I think our freshmen really kind of feed off the energy and the experience of those two players. We also were lucky enough to have, we had 3 players that got here last spring and had a chance to train all spring. We lost one of those to an ACL a couple weeks ago, but we still have Ori, one of our setters, and Stasha, one of our outside hitters, were both here last spring. So they're freshmen, but they're kind of super freshmen, kind of what you would consider nowadays a gray shirt freshman. Big in football and basketball, not so big in volleyball, but it's becoming more and more common. Kids are graduating early, and they were both in situations where they, where they come from, they graduate at Christmas time, so they're able to come early and get that time in. So we just have we don't have any depth. I've got 11 kids and I play 10 out of 11. I got one backup setter on the bench that we train all our setters to play some middle back and even to play some right front. Last tournament, one of our outside hitters got kneed in the mouth and she had to go out, so our backup setter went in and finished out the set playing a position she wasn't used to. But that's kind of how I train anyway, so I like to train kids in several positions so they don't freak out when you put them in. And the freshmen we have are playing way beyond their experience. They're playing, I guess, they're physically playing to their potential, and they're feeding off the confidence of the sophomores that we have that have kind of been there, done that, and they're a good group of kids. Like I couldn't have recruited better myself, so I nothing but praise and thank you to Megan. So she did a great job.
How would you describe yourself as a coach, or how would your players describe you as a coach?
Well, that's a good question. This is year 34 overall coaching and 30 at the collegiate level, so I can wear a lot of different hats. Luckily, this group is a very motivated group, and I haven't had to wear my disciplinarian hat. I've been able to really just kind of be very much a technical coordinator, and that's been mostly, what we have been focusing on, because these kids came in here with a pretty high skill level. A lot of coaches, they feel like when a kid comes in, they need to break them down and make them exactly what they visualize them being, and what that usually means is you get a dip in performance while they're relearning everything. And I kind of come from the old school, as if it's not broken, don't fix it, and organize these kids to be the best teammates they can be and be the best team they can be. and we'll work on the technical stuff in the spring when it doesn't matter. That's always the rough part about volleyball is, you get this year we had like 5 days of practice before our first scrimmage, so we don't have a long time to fix that. Luckily, we don't have a lot of technical issues, so I can have a lot of different coaching modes, and to be quite honest, right now with this group, I'm in my favorite coaching mode, which is where I get to share information with them, they get to process it. I don't have to be the taskmaster, we're lining up and running lines because people aren't paying attention and doing things. They're a pretty motivated group. In a strange way, I think being without a coach for a while and not knowing what was going to happen, they kind of came in a little bit more determined than they might have had that not been the case. And I think a lot of it is just them like being so happy coming in and seeing the level of play and seeing, that they had a coach that had a little bit of experience and success, so they could trust what I had to tell them. It wasn't, that they weren't resorted to just bringing somebody in just to fill that spot, hoping that, that the kids wouldn't revolt. So unfortunately, sometimes when you hire late, that's what you get. But as circumstances had it, it was a great fit for me and for the kids so far.
Like you said, you're 1-0 in conference play, 5-0 overall. What's next on the schedule for the Barton Cougars?
Well, we play a pretty good Missouri West Plains team tonight. They have their longtime coach that retired for a year. They brought her back, and so I know that she's always well prepared. And when you're out of school that only has like 3 or 4 sports, you have a lot of resources. So they always have great international kids. They always have, she's just always got very good athletes. So that, we'll play them tonight. They started off the year probably not how they wanted to, but I think they're 500, but they're probably one of the best 500 teams in the nation because like I said, I know Paula. I've known her for 20 years, and I know the type of athletes that they normally get there. So that'll be a tough match. And then we, again, play another coach that does a really good job, Sherry Kay from Eastern Arizona, and we play them tomorrow morning. And they're always big and physical. Like she likes size, so she likes to have, her middles are always 6 foot, 6'2". Her outsides, her right sides are always plus 6 foot. It'll be a big team. We'll have to get past their block and have better defense. And then, probably our biggest match of the weekend is going to be Miami-Dade on Saturday morning. Perennial top 4 or 5 team in the nation. I can't think of the last time that they didn't finish. It's been maybe 10 years since they haven't been in the top 5 or 6 of the nation at the end of the year. And, Kiko does a great job recruiting internationally, so they're always going to have the top international kids. I don't know how many times I've played them. I've played them 4 times in the finals alone. So that'll be our toughest challenge of the season, even if we play well. But I'd rather play them early than late. So I think we have a great chance to go 5-0 this weekend if our ball control stays and we can get a little bit more production out of our middles and rights. And that, for the short time we got to practice this week, that was a little bit of our goal.
All right, this is going to be the end of the interview here, so I'll let you make the pitch, convince people to come out and support the team.
Well, that's pretty easy. We've got some great athletes. I mean, if you want to come watch some really athletic volleyball, if you want to come see some kids that jump well and block well and are extremely offensive in the right way, that's you got to come out. Unfortunately, with the renovation of our gym, most of our home matches are pushed back till late September, early October. But, the good thing is, hey, most of our road games are only 2 hours away. We had a pretty good contingent at Butler the other night. So looking up in the stands, there were a lot of blue shirts up in the stands.
That's what they tell me. Barton folks like to travel, and they love to support their teams.
Yep. So, from what I understand, there's no charge for any of the games, so it's a cheap date. And not only that, you get a chance to come in and see how our new facilities are coming along. I got a glimpse of them early in the summer before things were started, and things are starting to come together now. And all that work and effort is slowly coming to fruition, and it's going to be really nice by the time it's finished. So
that's awesome. Coach, thanks for the time today. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Appreciate it.
Looking forward to talking to you again in the future. That's Jim Carter, the new head volleyball coach at Barton Community College. You're listening to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Welcome back in the studio now. Brant Daughtry here with you. Big thanks to Coach Jim Carter, for joining me here today. That was a really cool interview and a really interesting team. 5-0 in the early season. They've already taken down one conference squad. They're a top 10 ranked team, and they're doing most of it on the road. And I find that super impressive. Sports Day brought to you by Equity Bank, adding value for customers and communities. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. See the locations tab at equitybank.com for more locations. And by Sutherland's, helping you build it better since 1917. From quality lumber, plywood, and OSB to cabinets, plumbing, hardware, and power tools, they have everything you need to get the job done. Visit Sutherland's out on 10th Street. And just a really cool guy, a really interesting story as well. Obviously was super successful in Iowa and got away from it with the passing of his wife. And I think it's a heartbreaking story, but he's making the best of it by coming to Great Bend and bringing his daughter with him and trying to be a family man as well as coach a super successful volleyball team. And I think that he's well on his way to doing that. We're going to take our last break of the show. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the Kansas City Royals, where they stand, and some history that they made last night, one player in particular, and that will round out the show. But you're listening to Sports Day right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. It is the talk of the town.
Get on the fast track to earn your national certification with Barton Community College's new Medical Lab Assistant program. In less than 1 year, you'll gain hands-on training to work in medical labs, clinics, and hospitals, delivering critical patient care. With flexible learning, including 100% online courses and lab hours at your local hospital, you can grow your career or start fresh. Healthcare needs skilled professionals like you. Enroll now at mla.bartoncccc.edu.
C&E Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, are you ready to get back to work?
Back to work? But I've been here the whole time.
But I'm back in school. You're gonna have to run the shop without me.
It will be hard without you, but people know that we provide the best service no matter the time of the year.
You could always ask me, Mom, for more help.
Who do you think is really running this place?
Garage door sales, service, and repair at C&E Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
Service from people you know, quality products and professional installation. That's Kern Floor Service. Stop by Kern Floor Service and browse through the different selections of flooring from laminate to vinyl, carpet, wood, and ceramic tile. See their selection of area rugs or special order the one that fits your decor, and don't forget, they can spice up those countertops too. So stop by Kern Floor Service today. Kern Floor Service, 908 Coolidge in Great Bend.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
Welcome back into Sports Day. Final 8 or so minutes of the show. Brant Daughtry here with you in the captain's chair. Even though I'm not sitting in the chair, I'm standing up right now. You can watch us on YouTube at the Eagle Media Great Bend YouTube page. You can also go to greatbendpost.com and see those, see that post and watch it live from there. Stay tuned in tomorrow's show as we're going to be joined by Connor Nickel of Sunflower Sports Solutions. He'll be on early in the show, and then at 1 p.m. we'll be joined by Trevor Rolfs, the athletic director at Barton Community College. So he's going to come in and tell us about all things Barton. As we heard earlier, you had Jim Carter on the show, the new volleyball coach for Barton Community College, and he and I chopped it up a little bit, and hopefully Trevor and I can do the same thing tomorrow, update everybody on all things Barton Community College. Sports Day brought to you by Kern Floor Service. Whether you need a new ceramic or porcelain or natural stone tile floors, our knowledgeable and friendly flooring experts are here to help you find the perfect floor for your lifestyle, home decor, and budget. Visit the Great Bend Showroom at 908 Coolidge to see, touch, and feel the latest styles. Also brought to you by Cody Crook Red Cedar Land Company. Whether you're looking to sell your land or find the right property to buy, Cody takes the pride in understanding your goals and making the process as smooth as possible. Call Cody at 620-617-7320. Or you can visit redcedarland.com. Big thanks to all of our fine sponsors for joining us. So I said before the break, I wanted to go into the Royals a little bit. I wanted to break them down and what that series for against the White Sox meant. Game 1, they lost. It wasn't a particularly great game for them, but games 2 and 3, they come back and they really, really tee off on the White Sox pitching. It was a really good showing. Last night, a close game. I believe it was in the 5th inning. The 8th inning. In the 8th inning, they really unloaded and had a great session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some audio from that 8th inning. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about it a little bit more.
As we start the 5th with Salvador Perez leading off. And a swing, fly ball the other way. Right field. Back goes the right fielder looking up, and that's an opposite field homer for Salvador Perez. He ties the game 1-1. He goes oppo with his 23rd homer of the year.
Grounded into right field. Frazier scores. Isbell scores. And into third base, Yastrzemski, and right behind him, Bobby Witt Jr. On the ground up the middle, and Sosa is not able to make the play. And Vinny drives in 2 more in a 5-run 5th inning. Here comes Salvi with his 2nd at-bat in the inning. He started all this with a home run against Savale.
Swing and a line to left field. That's down for a hit. It's going to roll to the corner. Here will come Vinny around third to score. Garcia coming around third as well. Salvi drives in 2 more, and the Royals lead it 7-1. A 7-run inning.
We've been telling you for a while now that Salvi was moving up on Amos Otis. He has now passed Amos Otis. 993 RBIs. 3rd most in Royals history. Now Benintendi dives and he missed it. And it is an 8-run 5th inning, and Frazier goes diving into second base with his 3rd hit of the night.
And that was some audio from last night's game. The Kansas City Royals taking down the Chicago White Sox. Just a really impressive showing all around from all involved. And I think the thing that got mentioned in that broadcast that we need to talk about a little bit more, Salvador Perez passing Amos Otis for 3rd most RBIs all time. I can't remember who's 2nd on the list. First is George Brett, and George Brett is a good bit ahead of Salvi. Salvi's not going to catch him. I think if he plays for a little while longer, he might have a shot at 2nd. But the thing is, with Salvador Perez, he's such a legend of this team, and I think we need to go into that a little bit longer. For those who don't know, which I don't know who wouldn't know, Salvador Perez made his Royals debut in 2011, and he's been playing for the team since. He missed the 2019 season, but other than that, 2011 to now, he has been dressing in Royals blue. And Salvador Perez has been an all-star 9 times. He's just one of the legends of a great franchise, a historic franchise, and he continues to add to that history. And I think the way that he has continued to keep up a high level of play has been really impressive. Now let's talk about the Royals this year and as a team. Since that homestand, they went 8-2 over that homestand. They lost the series to the Tigers, but were able to salvage Game 3 on the road trip of that. Now they're heading back to Kansas City to start another series with the Tigers after taking 2 out of 3 from this White Sox team. If my math is correct, that means they have won, quick math, 11 of their last 15. I think, they've won 11 of their last 15 games, and they're only 3 games out of a wild card spot. I think that that's incredibly promising. I think that there's a shot that they continue. I really like the trade deadline additions they have made. Mike Yastrzemski has been hitting like crazy. I think he's going to continue to hit. I think he only had 10 home runs coming into the All-Star break. After being traded to the Royals, I think he's at 15. So he's hit, I think, 4 or 5 home runs since being traded to the Royals. He's been a really solid addition for them. And I think the Royals front office can be proud of that move. Ryan Bergert, a guy who was stuck toiling in the minor leagues for the San Diego Padres, came up to make a couple of spot starts over the past couple of years, but never could really crack their full-time rotation. Since he's come to the Royals, he's been one of their better starters. Pitched 6 innings last night, gave up only 1 run, got the win, and he's just been a really consistent presence for them. And I think that that's been a really impressive job, not just getting pieces at the trade deadline, but improving. Now, those 2 pieces are by far the biggest, I think. Bailey Falter, I think he got 1 start for the Royals, and now he's just kind of on the team. I think they moved him to the bullpen, so Bailey Falter, maybe not the best pickup, but who knows, maybe he gives you some innings out of the bullpen, and if you make it to the postseason, which is obviously what the Royals are pushing for, like I said, only 3 games out of that wild card spot, with a series against the Tigers coming up starting this weekend, and then they host the Angels to begin next week. I think that Tiger series, that's going to be tough. The Tigers are the Tigers. They lead the AL Central for a reason. They at one point had the best record in baseball. I think they still do. But the fact is, if you can get 1 out of 3 from that, I think you're doing good. If you can win that series, then I think, okay, you're on the high horse. You are full speed ahead making the playoffs. After that, you host the Angels. I mentioned earlier, the Angels last night against the Rangers got beat 20-2 or 20-1. I don't know where the sheet of paper is, and I don't have the time to find it. But they got beat. They gave up 20 runs to the Texas Rangers, and I think the Royals are a better team than the Rangers are this year. So I certainly think that series is very winnable. I think if you can win these next 2 series, then you look up, and the Royals could very well be holding one of those wild cards. And I think that this is an incredibly capable team. I think that this is a team that needs to go full speed ahead and aim for the playoffs. And I think they're right there. I think they're right on the verge of doing it. That's going to do it for today's episode of Sports Day. Big thanks to Aaron Beck, Trent Kern, and Ian Premer for joining me in the studio today. Big thanks also to Jim Carter for coming on. Big thanks to Landon Winkler, who's over there running the cameras. I've been Brant Daughtry in the captain's chair. Thanks for having me. We will see you all on another episode of Sports Day tomorrow.